You see, when you fall in love with character. There's a name for forced love. So many marriages are based on emotion. A bad marriage, unfortunately, very, very difficult. Love is a choice. Love is a principle often misunderstood. And God gave us the ability to choose to love Him. There's a name for forced love. That is rape. That is not love. It's not love at all. Love is a principle. I'm going to give you a funny story to illustrate. It's the story of how my husband chose me to be his wife. My first husband was a drug addict, and it began to get violent, and I needed to leave home with my 4 children. Other criminal activities I discovered after I'd left, so I divorced my first husband. And I was a single mother for 4 years, and I was a homeschooling mum, and I had met Michael O'Neill at homeschool camps, so we were friends. And he was my daughter's boss at the health retreat. And one day he came into my kitchen, he said, "Barbara, I've been thinking about things and I think you and I should get married." And I said, "This is very analytical." He said, "I'm a very analytical person." I said, "But I think when 2 people marry, they should love each other." And when I said that, I saw that I was a bit of a challenge for him. He said, "I'm very attracted to you and I love your character." And when he said that, I thought, really? I am attracted to this man and I love this man's character. He's a real mover and shaker, and I just used to admire that about him so much. And so when he'd said that, and I had a few seconds to contemplate, because it's split-second stuff what's happening in our brain, I said, "Yes, I will." He said, "Great, meet me tonight at my house with all the kids." And we had a lot of kids. Mine was 10, his was 11, mine was 12, his was 13, mine was 14, mine 16, mine 19, mine 21. Whew. And I found out that he'd had a list. He'd had a list for about 6 months, because he thought anything that works out in business, it's always worked out on paper first. So I think he said, "I need a wife." My first wife ran off with someone else. He said, "But this time I'm going to choose my wife scientifically." So we had a paper with all the pros and all the cons. And apparently he had a whole lot of women on that paper. And my name kept going to the top of the list, but I had 2 negatives. One was that I had 6 children. Who's going to take on 6 children? But when he got to know the children, they weren't brats. He said he couldn't have handled brats. He said they were nice kids and they were hard workers. So that went to the positive side. He said the other negative was that I was older than him. I'm 3.5 years older than him. And he said he would never have considered a woman older than him. So at the time he was 40, I was 44. And he thought, what does it matter in your 40s? So my name was clear now. And so he knocked on my door and asked the question. So we met that evening at his house with all the kids in a half circle, and he said, "Well, children, we've got an announcement to make." And his daughter said, "Dad, we already know." And so Michael and I have been married almost 25 years. And I believe that it has worked very well for a few reasons. One is that it wasn't an emotional decision. You see, when you fall in love with character. And character, if it's under the hand of God, will get more beautiful with age. So many marriages are based on emotion. And I have spoken to a few people that said the worst year of their marriage was the first year. The lady's upset because the man just throws his clothes on the floor and he doesn't put the lid down on the toilet. And the man's upset because he comes home and there's no tea ready for, you call it supper ready. So I say to people, when you marry to serve. And if you serve and both serve, things will work very, very well. It's a miracle, I think, that a man and a woman can live together, because we are so different, let alone if there's a cultural difference. That can also make it very difficult. A good marriage, nothing better. A bad marriage, unfortunately, very, very difficult.